we rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another special of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I just removed our guest off the screen without telling him, so we could do the intro to the show, Santoki. Santoki, listen, we got a special that we got lined up today. We're going to talk about cricket's power game, but before we do that, Santoki, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, Mash. And, we always say there's never a quiet day in West Indies cricket. Here we were on a quiet Wednesday, midweek, getting ready for the second test against Bangladesh when bombshell news came out of the Caribbean. Got not just the region talking, but the whole world talking, Mash. And we've got a special guest on to come and delve into that.
Most definitely. There's so much to say. What does cricket hate more than some innovation? you try and innovate in cricket, and you try and take the game forward, and you can guarantee. I don't know, Santoki, was the cuss out bigger than the 100 cuss out?
It's hard to gauge, because we're still fresh off it. It's been 24 hours, man. So we're still caught up in the moment. It'll be interesting to see. But it was similar to what we saw with the 100, and it's definitely got people talking, Mash. But as you said off air, all publicity is good publicity. People are talking about cricket in the Caribbean, and I'm looking forward to dissecting this one.
Yeah, we're going to bring our guest on, people. And if you're listening to this and you're like, what are they talking about? Where have you been, people? Where have you been? This week, we have seen the announcement and the launch of the 60. And that 60's got a 6 at the front. People remember that. The 60 cricket power game. And we decided a joint partnership, we should say, between Cricket West Indies and the Caribbean Premier League. And we thought the only right thing to do, because at one point, Santoki, the way that people were talking about it was as if we had invented it. Yeah. So we thought the only thing that we could do was get somebody on from CPL to talk about the 60, its kind of origins, the ideas behind it. We're not going to do a long show on this one, people, because this one was always going to be a kind of let's just have a conversation about it and get more kind of thoughts and ideas around it so that you, the listening public, the viewing public can go back into the group chats, etc., and chat some more. So without any further ado, let me bring our guest on. It's the head of marketing at the Caribbean Premier League, and it is indeed Chris Watson. Chris, you survived this week yet?
Yeah, no, I'm still here. I'm still smiling. So thanks for having me on, lads. I'm a long-term follower and big fan of your work. So good to chat.
Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Before we get into it, I guess, do you just want to explain to viewers, obviously you're making a debut on the show, kind of how long you've been working with the Caribbean Premier League and kind of what your role entails?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been involved actually in one way or another since 2015. So I was previously, my first experience at CPL was as a commercial partner. So I've worked in the marketing industry for quite a number of years, and I worked for a gaming brand that sponsored CPL back in 2015 and 16. And then I came to get involved directly for the tournament in 2018. So I've been running the marketing since then, and I like to think the tournament's gone from strength to strength. Obviously, we've had an interesting couple of years with the pandemic on, but we found new ways to sort of reach the audience, grow the brand, take Caribbean cricket to a worldwide platform and continue moving forward. So we're looking forward to, from a CPL perspective, what's to come this year with the return of, fans en masse and the biggest party in sport coming back. But as far as the 60s concerned, yeah, lots to talk about today and lots of excitement.
Most definitely. And lots of people will be watching. I already know what's going to happen. People are watching this and the comments are immediately going to be, When's the CPL draft? Like, I'm telling you that now. That's what's going to be underneath. As soon as this is done, you'll see the comments on going. Those are rather than focus on what we're actually here to talk about. But it would be remiss of me to not mention it, of course, because Chris, I saw the other day that maybe about a month ago, you were actually in Guyana, clearly scoping out what Guyana are going to be doing ahead of hosting the CPL. Well, they're hosting loads of it this year, as well as the semis and the finals, etc. Santoki, I know you're super excited to see that Guyana is getting a lot of the CPL this year.
Yeah, no, definitely. Hopefully we can finally lift the tournament. It'll be on home soil. I'm not going to be too confident this year. I've learned from about 10 years of experience not to big them up too much. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes, Mash.
Most definitely. And so, I mean, Chris, before we jump into the 60, just in general, preps for the CPL. Looking forward to yet another exciting tournament.
Yeah, definitely. As I said, the real sort of key message really is that the party's back. I think, it's been an interesting couple of years because our brand is basically driven by the vibrancy of the fans and the carnival spirit in stadium. And, it hasn't been quite the same for the last 2 years, but we've still been able to get it off without a hitch and have great audience figures. And that's been a real success. But we want to go back this year with a bang to what CPL is all about, which is fans coming out en masse and having a great time, whoever they're supporting, So it's, there's a lot to look forward to, particularly with the women's as well. So the tournament's going to be bigger, better and more colourful than ever, we hope. And hopefully everyone will stick with us and tune in as well as watching the 60 as well. So there's going to be lots of announcements coming up in the next few days and weeks. So all those people firing into the comments about the draft, don't worry, they won't have to wait too much longer. They'll find out exactly who's going to be on their side, when they can get tickets, what the whole schedule looks like. So we're really sort of gearing up now to get into the exciting phase where people get all the info and can start planning their CPL.
Well, people, you've got the exclusive there. It's all coming. All of those who are waiting to see how the Talawars are going to win this year's CPL, don't worry. It's soon upon us. We can soon mount our title charge for this year. But as Chris and as Santoki alluded to, what we wanted to focus on in this particular episode is, of course, what's happening between the 24th of August and the 28th of August. So essentially, 2 or 3 days before CPL actually starts, we are going to have a brand new competition. Nobody else has this branding, the 60 Cricket's Power Game. Where do we start? And actually, do you know where I want us to start? And Toki, I'm going to come to you before we go to Chris. I think it's worth reading out the rules of the 60, Santoki, because not everybody listening to this will have necessarily even looked at the rules yet. They've just heard the name, fired off their comments and their hot takes without actually looking specifically at what the tournament says the rules are. So Santoki, over to you. Explain to the listeners, the viewers, about the 60.
Boy, well, let me go through my notes for this one, Mash. So just reading through. So the first thing is each batting team has 6 wickets. So after 6 wickets are gone, they're all out. There'll be 2 power play overs. You can unlock a third power play by hitting 2 sixes within the first 12 balls. So you'll get an extra power play, which can be taken at any time during the rest of the innings. There'll be 30 balls, so 5 overs bowled from one end before it switches to the other end. The 30 balls will be delivered as 5 separate overs, with no bowler being able to bowl more than 2 overs for the innings. So each bowler gets 2 overs. If teams do not bowl their overs within the allotted time, a member of their team is removed from the field for the final over, which is very interesting. And probably the one that got the most people talking, fans will be able to vote for the timing of a mystery free hit where a batter can't be dismissed by the bowler. So fans will get to decide when a team can choose to have a free hit. Mash, have you taken all that in?
Do you know what? I have taken it all in. I will admit, like, as with anything, whenever you hear any kind of new venture or innovation, particularly if it's not the norm, you have to read it. You have to take it in. You can't expect to just understand it straight away. But having read it 2 or 3 times, to be honest, and the thing is, I'm sure there's going to be some people watching this going, oh, you two are just saying this because you want to curry favor with CPL and Cricket West Indies. No, I just read it and went, my honest gut instinct, Santoki, when I read it was, okay, this should be fun. That was my honest reaction when I read this. Like, okay, it's a 5-day tournament prior to the start of CPL. And if I'm not mistaken, and Chris will say more, I believe there's going to be women's teams involved as well. Yeah, Chris is nodding his head. So I just thought this should be fun. This should be really good excitement. And do you know the other thing that entered my head when I read it and analyzed it, Santoki? I was like, it's going to be quick. Like it's going. It's not going to drag at all. Like there's going to be action per second per minute, and I don't understand what the problem is. It's only 5 days long.
I think, yeah, before we head to Chris, I think it's just cricket has shown itself to be such a traditional sport. Any change is met with fear. And we've seen with T20 cricket how innovations can be implemented into all formats of cricket. So with this, like you said, Mash, it's 5 days. Fans in the Caribbean will have fun watching it. We'll see how it goes. The innovations could be popular, they could not. But for me, I'm excited to see it, and it will obviously build up nicely towards CPL. So, Chris, let's get into it. Kind of, how long in the making was this tournament? How long did it take? How did it sort of start, and how did you go ahead planning it?
Well, it's definitely been well over a year that it's been sort of talked about internally about having a sort of T10 format, and I guess the reasoning behind it to some extent is that we find that cricket just seems to be getting longer and longer at the moment. You know, tournaments are getting longer and individual matches are getting longer with delays and stops and starts and you know, looking at ways that we can kind of expand on the footprint that we have, the relationships that we have with governments, with stadiums, our calendar, Cricket West Indies calendar, and really the 60 was born out of that. It's a new format that's, as you say, exactly that. It's kind of like a weekend festival of cricket almost. And it's, if you sort of bottle up that kind of rugby 7 sort of spirit of it can be like, you know, something that can expand to grow to be more than just one event in a year. And this whole sort of short, sharp burst of cricket, which is fast and fun, and you can follow the narrative of what's going on as well. It's not like the tournament's dragging on for weeks on end and you lose track of who's played who and what's going on. You know, it's fun, fast, you're in and you're out. And we think, above all, it's going to attract a new audience and hopefully a younger audience and bring different people into cricket. And I know a lot of that has been sort of said by the 100 in the past, but you know, I think for us, this particular vision is a direction we want to go in and we see success in.
Was it a deliberate choice to get Gail as kind of like the patron / ambassador of it? How did that come about? I think we tweeted on the day of the launch that I mean, it was me who put the tweet, but I felt it was a bit of a masterstroke to get Gail to be the guy hyping it up. There's no bigger cricketing hype man than Chris Gayle. And if you're going to do a brand new format with a specific Caribbean tinge to it, it's a no-brainer to me to try and get Gayle on board, and particularly obviously because of Gale's global appeal in the game. Was that a deliberate choice? How did that come about?
I mean, there's going to be further announcements about Chris and his sort of connection to the 60. So I don't want to sort of give away too many specifics exactly what his role is at this stage. I mean, some people have sort of second guessed this or that around his role, but as a general sort of connection to Chris, you know, if you're launching any new event, particularly short format white ball, you know, he is the GOAT, right? So and not just on the field, you know, his persona, his larger than life character, the energy he brings. You know, if you're launching something new in any field, you know, you can't go far wrong with getting the universe boss on board. So really, in a short list, he's always going to be the first one and the first one for us. And you know, we hold him in exceptionally high regard for everything that he's done for CPL. So you know, we're very pleased to have a sort of connection with him and have him being the character to explain the rules and break the news about the 60 earlier in the week. So yeah, I'd say watch this space next week for further announcements on Chris specifically and what he'll be doing with us around the 60.
And to clarify to our viewers, there are plans to have it more than just annually, so it'll be held throughout the year.
Yeah, I think so. We don't just see this as a one-off or a once annually event. I think the beauty of it, as I say, because it's short and sharp, that can be a really good thing for player availability. The biggest struggle we've had for CPL for getting top overseas talent, as well as the getting all the Windies internationals involved, is just the congested cricket calendar and the number of the international schedule, as well as all the other sort of franchise events that are out there. But with these kind of events being short and sharp, it's going to be a lot easier, we think, to get top quality players come in. And we've had agents reach out to us since Wednesday already saying, we've got some players who would love to be involved in the 60. And our vision is that this could be 3-4 more tournaments a year. As I say, using rugby sevens as the example, it could be different locations, different teams involved, different times of year. So the scope for it is as we see it, is really strong. And there's obviously different narratives that you could build with different events linking together and overall league tables. And, there's so many different things you could do with it, as well as each event being its own sort of tournament. And as you said, Mash, we've got women's games involved as part of the first event as well. So we think it's a bright future for the 60 once we can kind of get the format out there and get people to try it, see if they like it, and much like the 100, get over the initial sort of shock to the system that some people have had from it.
Santoki, do you know if our agent reached out to make sure we're involved as well?
Well, Michelle's got the bleep test covered, so I'm sure you'll pass on the fitness test.
Yeah. But Chris, we should ask some more serious questions as well. And at this point, I put in a disclaimer to those watching, listening, that we do plan to speak to other members of CPL and Cricket West Indies as well. And the reason why I say that, Chris, is because possibly hidden within all of this, because again, I think you have all the kind of instant reactions and the hot takes, etc. But hidden within all of this was the mention of Cricket West Indies and CPL. And I think some people might have either missed that or assumed this was just a sole CPL venture. Are you able to explain the partnership with Cricket West Indies and CPL in the 60?
Yeah, definitely. I think a big part of the vision overall is just creating more cricketing opportunities. I mean, I spoke about getting fans involved, getting people engaged, a newer, younger audience. But I think this can also lead to great cricketing development as well. It can inspire the next young generation of cricketers, as well as actually in the short term getting more Caribbean players involved this year. More slots, more salaries, more jobs to be created, and economic impact in the region. At the stadiums, helping governments as well. So the partnership with CWI and CPL, we're closer than ever at the moment. Things are working really well, really strong, and we're looking forward to making this a big success and it having a real sort of cricketing legacy. The way that cricket is going, the talk of T10 potentially being the format if cricket goes to the Olympics, for example. This isn't just a sort of purely commercial enterprise. This has got a very strong cricketing thread to it, as well as you might have seen in the launch show Ricky Skerritt talking about that this can leave a big footprint and allow opportunities for other players. So ultimately, I think as far as the construct goes, it's a strong partnership. And while CPL will be more sort of actually running the operations of it, CWI are very much involved, and we're really excited about working closely with them on this.
Before you come in, Santoki, the other thing I wanted to check and answer as well, Chris, is that, and again, correct me if I've got it wrong. So within the 60, it'll still be the same sides, right? So it'll still be like TKR, Talawars, etc. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's going to be exactly the same teams as CPL. So the 6 men's teams and the 3 women's teams that are going to be in the WCPL. The actual squads themselves will probably, I would say, 85 to 90%, something like that, crossover. So there will be because this is a sort of new addition to the calendar and it's slightly before CPL, that creates some slight scheduling issues with players who already have commitments in other areas. So for those players that can't make it, those slots that are available, that creates, as I say, opportunities for other players to get involved, be that overseas or domestic. So we're really excited that teams can sort of freshen up their sides versus their CPL sides, and even sort of blood different players and give opportunities to the younger players. We talked about where we can take this as far as sort of squads in the future. Why not have dedicated slot or ways of bringing on board players who've done well in the sort of domestic T10s? Have a sort of hot shots spot in the side for people who've performed really well on a regional level, in the same way that we have our emerging players in CPL squads. So I think definitely it's going to be exciting to have top level players involved, and it's going to be really world class cricket in the same way that CPL is.
So just sort of to clarify for fans, because we had a lot of fans ask us, in terms of if a player is available, so let's take a Shimron Hetmeyer, for example. If he's available for the 60, he'll automatically play for Guyana Amazon Warriors in the 60. There'll be a sort of thread between the 60 and CPL teams.
Yeah, naturally. The teams will retain their core across both tournaments. Yeah, exactly that.
And I think the one thing you talked obviously about fan engagement. The one thing that everyone's been talking about is the vote to decide the free hit that each side gets. Sort of has it been finalized how that's going to work? Is it going to be fans in the stadium or fans remotely from home can decide? How can you shed some more light on how that will work?
Yeah, no, absolutely. No. So everyone's going to be able to participate. So it's going to be an online vote, be that through an app or a website. And essentially, we will randomly select some of the potential balls in the game, and then fans can choose which one they want the mystery ball to appear at, the mystery free hit to appear at. And then the idea behind it is that vote will close before the innings starts, and no one will know the results to that other than the umpire. And then the umpire will obviously signal at the relevant time when the mystery ball happens, and therefore the batting team nor the bowling team will be expecting it, so it'll be a surprise, and then carnage will ensue, but in a good way, of course. It'll add an extra bit of excitement, and just having that fan engagement aspect where they can influence live sport is definitely a first in cricket. I think we took inspiration, from Formula E, where fans can vote during races on social media and give cars a speed boost. So it's where fan engagement's going, and the next generation of fans are going, is how they can make that connection between what they're doing, ultimately staring at phones and staring at screens, and bringing them closer to actually the live sport if they can't be in the arena. So I think that is one that is puzzled a lot of people, but it's actually the one that we're very excited about. We don't know how it's going to go, obviously, because it's a brand new thing, but we're excited to roll it out, just like all of the other innovations as well. So yeah, there's a lot for people to get their heads around, but a lot to be excited about.
I'm loving that, Santoki. Live scenes when Guyana in the final or in the final and the fans have selected it just as Vasami Permal walks to the wicket to try and win a title. But feasibly, it could go anything random like that, because you don't know who's going to be at the crease at any point in time, how many wickets would have fallen, etc. They could be all out for all we know. Sorry, Santoki, you want to say something?
I was going to say, no, it just adds that air of unpredictability to things. And as Chris said, it's never been seen before in cricket. So it's something I'm definitely looking forward to. And one more question we got on social media was, will the game still have DRS and reviews within them?
Do you know something? We've never actually had DRS, bar the finals in, I think, 2018. But what's really exciting is that we're going to have DRS for the 60 and for CPL throughout this year. So that's something we're really excited about as well. I mean, it's going to add a new dimension and just take things to the next level for us. And I know players have wanted it for a while, and fans have been calling out for it for a while. So we're excited to be able to deliver it this year and bring it in, as well as all of the innovations that we talked about earlier.
So I was going to ask a different question, but the thinking behind the scenes, is it much further beyond than let's see how this first edition goes and then let's come back to kind of like the table to decide on next steps, because like you say, because it's so quick, and I think was it Michael Hall was saying that you could literally put it anywhere around the world, never mind at different points of the year. Are you already committed to that, or is it a case of let's just see how this first one goes first and foremost, and see what we need, see what lessons there are to learn from it, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a big element of that. I think, well, mostly we need to see what the fans make of it. I think, I mean, maybe judging from some of the comments on Twitter, we'll ask people in person rather than on social media. But no, it's not for everyone. But we've been blown away by some of the positive feedback we've had. Like people just saying, "Wow, this is something I don't have time to watch." 5 days of a test match, but I definitely sit and watch down a 90-minute game with these things happening. So that's exactly the kind of message we wanted to hear back. So I think for this year, it's definitely have a look at how it goes, take stock, but that's not necessarily gonna sort of change our strategy too much in the bigger picture. Is that we definitely want to grow this and take this to more locations and have more events across a year, and that's sort of firmly our plan. We're definitely not seeing this as like a pilot or anything as such. This is the 60, from day one, and we want to get it right and make it a really good event that's sort of distinct from CPL, that's interesting and exciting, whether you're there or whether you're watching on TV. And that's what we thought, that the innovations in particular add a different dimension. The wicket, the 6 wickets is a bit of a leveler for bowlers, because everything's been going against bowlers in white ball cricket, and the time constraints. We've seen lots of other tournaments try and put time constraints on people, but on teams, but in innings it doesn't really actually make an effect on the game. It's always retrospective. So we're quite happy that our innovation around time is going to affect people during the game. And same with the power play. It's sort of, we took inspiration almost like of it being like a live video game where you can level up after hitting these 2 sixes in the first power play and unlock this third floating power play. So all of these things together, I think we're really confident that we're onto something here, and with good sort of thinking behind it to develop cricket and to bring economic impact to the region. So we've just got to work hard to make it a success this year and then grow it from there.
What made you pick St. Kitts, by the way? Obviously, the CPL's got lots of games in Guyana and 3 other nations as well. But what was the reasoning behind St. Kitts for the 60?
I think we have a really good relationship with the government in St. Kitts. They've been incredibly supportive of CPL and really passionate since the second they got involved. And obviously we hosted the whole event last year, and they reigned supreme as champions. So I think the government was really keen, and we were really keen. It felt like a natural fit to start CPL there, so that they could sort of start the defence of their title. And then once you kind of put that structure in place of that being the first CPL destination, it kind of logistically made sense to when you look at the cricket calendar and the other factors like the cohort of people travelling around and player availability, broadcast crew, those kind of things. It made sense to do it just before the St. Kitts leg, and then just from conversations with governments and locations, and considering all the factors, it just made sense to have it in St. Kitts. But as I say, it's the beauty of it, with it being shorter, and is that we can it's a lot more flexible with where we can take it. Why not take it to other countries that perhaps aren't in a position to host their own CPL teams, but they could host a 60 event, or even as take it completely at one of the tournaments out of the Caribbean altogether, go to Vegas or go to wherever. I think the sky's the limit with it, really. But obviously we have to make it a successful product that people want to watch, want to attend first of all, and then the sort of the audience and the sort of success of that will follow.
Sorry, Santoki.
I was just looking for any more questions, but yeah, no, we had a few about whether it be played in America. But like you said, Chris, the accessibility of it and all means that it'd be a no-brainer to sort of go to America and try and attract new fans. And Mash, I personally think as well, we talk about attracting young fans in the Caribbean to the game. I think, as Chris has alluded to, T20 is now stretched out where they're 4.5 hours long. So if you're 6-7 years old, it's still a long time. So I think this could also be something that gets the next generation interested in cricket, much to the detriment of some who might see it as undermining traditional cricket, red ball cricket. I think it would definitely have positive benefits for that younger generation in the region.
Yeah, and also because of how short it is, what are we saying, Chris? Triple headers, double headers?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at games being 90 minutes, you can easily fit 3 or even 4 games into a game day. So obviously you won't have to wait too long till you see what the schedule actually looks like, how many of those games are going to be men's games and women's games. So that will be coming pretty soon. But yeah, you can get a lot of cricket in a short period of time, and people, as you know, can dip in and dip out, and it makes it, you know, very accessible, as you said, Santoki, for younger people or people who, you know, are under time constraints. And you know, we want it to be, accessibility is the word. We want people to be able to have a bit of fun and come down and enjoy it and have a great experience.
So Santoki, what are you saying? Is this Guyana's long-awaited opportunity to try and win some kind of Caribbean?
Listen, come the end of September, if Guyana haven't won either the 60 or CPL, I might just have to retire from this pod.
Well, with the WCPL, there'll be, you know, 4 trophies up for grabs this year. Can you imagine if Guyana came second in all 4? If that be their time sooner or later, as
yeah, Santoki. If they can't win one of them out of the 4, yeah, I say give up. I say give up. Even I'm willing to say that Jamaica will take one of these competitions across this summer. So I'll let Guyana have at least one of the other 3 available as well. But listen, we wanted to keep this one short, sharp, and sweet, and I don't think, Chris, that you will have made everybody happy with your responses. I can immediately predict that there will be still plenty more people saying but this, but that, etc. And at the end of the day, Santoki, I return to what I kind of said at the top. I'm willing to just give I'm fine. Like let's see how it goes. Like it's something new to watch. It's going to be quick. It's going to be fun. It's going to be certainly interesting because it's the rules alone mean it's something you haven't seen before. And what I always say to people is, give it a go. What's the worst that can happen? You don't like it. Okay, well, don't watch after that. But give it a go. Give it a go and have a look. And me personally, Santoki, from when I know the Talawars are entering the competition, I'm watching anyways because there's a trophy. There's some trophies on the line, and we might be able to take one home with us. But Santoki, I'll let you have the final words and wrap this one up with Chris.
Yeah, I think this was a very, very interesting recording. I think Chris has obviously cleared up a lot of points, a lot of questions that fans would have in the immediate aftermath. So thanks a lot, Chris, for coming on, and we hope that the 60 is a success. And CPL as well, as usual. And also, I'm privately hoping Guyana at least win one of the titles. But thank you so much for coming on, Chris, and giving up your time.
Brilliant. No, thank you, everyone. Thanks, guys. And hopefully everyone keeps following the 60 and all the breaking news that we're going to be bringing you in the next few days. And, you know, bear with us, be patient. I know new formats take a bit of time to get your head around. Like the 100, you know, lots of people fell off their chair when they saw what they were trying to do. But, you know, that's proved so far seemingly a success, and you know we're certainly not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to work really hard to deliver a quality product. So you know, give us a chance, and at least watch it before you make your judgment, as Michelle said. Thank you very much.
And for those who are maybe listening to this, I don't know where you've been hiding, but you didn't know about 60 cricket. In terms of going to find out about it, for those who are Twitter fans, go to @60. Remember, that's with a 6. So 6IXTY 60 cricket. and that's where you can find them on Twitter, and obviously find the websites and all of the various information on that. So do go and follow the handle and stay locked in for further updates ahead of the tournament launch. Literally 2 months, nearly 2 months today, is when the tournament will all kick off. And for those who are listening to this in the UK or London, I saw there was a flight to get to St. Kitts for £750. So it's possible, people. If you're interested in going there live, hit me up and we can go over there and go see what this is all about. But Chris, thanks so much for coming on. Santoki as ever. Ladies and gents, that's been another special of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.